Hello everybody, I'm back with an awesome new rant for you all, and let me tell you, this one is going to be quite the doozy. Star Wars is a magical franchise. I've been slowly getting into it myself, and I can see why millions of people love it. It's magical, wonderful, and represents everything that's right in the world. Okay, I was being hyperbolic, it doesn't actually represent everything that's right in the world, but it provides a lot of hope and optimism, and given how terrible everything else is in the world right now, we definitely need a lot of hope and optimism. Now, you guys know that I absolutely hate fanboys with a passion. It's strange because I love ranting, I hate fanboys, and I strangely love ranting about fanboys. And I haven't done either one of those in a while, so this is going to be a lot of fun. Before we start, huge shout out goes out to the anonymous helper for suggesting the person we're going to be talking about today. Normally I would give the name of the channel who suggested an idea to me, but the channel in question is asked to remain anonymous because they're fearful of the person in question coming after them if I reveal that they suggested them to me, so I'm going to respect their wishes and leave them as anonymous. Today we're going to be talking about Will Walker, aka the movie Doctorful, and in my opinion he represents everything that is wrong with Star Wars fandom. How does he represent everything that's wrong with Star Wars fandom, you may ask? Well, we're going to have to watch the video together and find out.
If you know me personally, or if you're just at all familiar with my channel, you know that I am a huge fan of the Star Wars prequels. Hell, my next defense review is of Attack of the Clones, and Revenge of the Sith will shortly follow. If I did a top 100 favorite movies of all time list, Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith would both be in the top 20. But if people hate these movies, that's fine! As long as you don't blatantly lie about things or be hypocritical about your points, then I'm perfectly fine with you saying that these movies are bad.
Keep that in mind because that's going to come back to bite him in the ass later on, because, spoiler alert, he pretty much spends this entire video contradicting that very statement.
But unfortunately, some people can't be objective about these things. This brings me to the subject of today, Jenny Nicholson. For those of you who don't know, Jenny Nicholson is a respected nerd personality, critic, and vlogger on YouTube with over 100,000 subscribers. She's very popular, but the only reason that I know about her is because my favorite troll, Future X and DC Comic Zone, did a video ridiculing her.
If you're using Future XMD Comic Zone as an inspiration for moving forward with a video, that's a pretty telltale sign that it's probably going to be really, really bad. But you know what? Let's give him a chance, let's hear what he has to say, and see if it actually makes any sort of sense.
Bitter Marvel witch. Marvel sucks and you're compensating for never getting laid, Jenny Nicholson, and you're just butthurt about it.
I'm not going to be doing any of that. I don't think that that kind of language and name-calling has any place in a respectable debate. But what I am going to be doing is responding to a video of hers, the problem with Padme. If you don't know, Padme is actually one of my favorite fictional characters. My number one favorite will always be Miss Pamela Isley of Gotham City, but Padme is still probably in my top 10, maybe top 5. But as I said earlier, I can totally respect your opinion if you don't like the character, if you bring up good reasons, if you tell the truth, and if you're not hypocritical.
I'm not kidding when I say this. This guy is easily one of the most triggered individuals I have ever come across, internet or otherwise, and you guys are going to see exactly what I'm talking about the more the video goes on, because he gets quite heated about Padme because he has quite the hard-on for her, even more so than Poison Ivy, and that's saying something.
And my god, Jenny is none of those things in this video. And if you think that I'm just being a butthurt fanboy, or that I'm just being another troll, let's examine this video together, and I will try to be as civil as I possibly can watching it. Okay, go.
Number 1, who the heck is Padme? Like, really? Does she have any hobbies? Do we see her do anything? Or friends? She seems like kind of sad when her decoys die, I guess. Sometimes she talks to Obi-Wan, but it's usually just about Anakin, so I'm not sure that counts.
Padme is a stoic, overly professional politician. She doesn't have much time for play or romance or friends, which is why she seems to like Little Annie so much in episode 1.
I think you really missed the point of what Jenny was actually trying to say. When she said, who the heck is Padme, what she really meant is that we don't know anything about her, other than the fact that she's a galactic senator, and she's the wife of Anakin Skywalker, aka Darth Vader. She doesn't have any other interests or hobbies outside of her job, and since they don't do a very good job at actually trying to develop her character, she comes off as an incredibly boring, blank slate character. And your excuse for it is because she's professional. Okay, true, but If she's professional and not personal, then why does she fall in love with Anakin? Why does she develop a relationship with him? That literally doesn't make any sense to me. If she was truly professional instead of personal, she would completely disregard Anakin and relationships in general. I don't get it. That doesn't make sense to me. Oh boy. This video only gets worse from here. Why do I do this to myself?
We don't see her with friends or doing anything personal because A, it's established that she's much more professional than personal, and B, the films are mostly focused on Anakin, which means sacrificing screen time for many other characters, including Padme, Obi-Wan, Mace Windu, etc. She's not being sacrificed screen time because she's a woman, she's being sacrificed screen time because she's a side character.
First of all, your excuse for Padme being an underdeveloped and uninteresting character is because she's a side character, so apparently that's a good excuse. It doesn't matter because she's a side character. It doesn't matter if she's not well developed. It doesn't matter if she doesn't have a personality. It doesn't matter if she doesn't really do that much throughout the prequel trilogy. So she's a side character, so that totally makes it okay. Look, I understand you love the prequel trilogy and you love Padme, and that's completely fine. I have no problem with that, but I am sorry. That is an incredibly flawed reach. That is an incredibly far reach to try and defend a flawed and uninteresting character. And second of all, when the fuck did Jenny ever say that Padme was sidelined because she was a woman? She literally did not say that at all. What you just said is a falsehood. A falsehood, for those of you who don't know, is when somebody claims that somebody else said something when they didn't actually say anything. And he says this numerous times throughout the video. This can also be called a straw man. It really doesn't matter. But basically, he said, literally, he's telling people that, Jenny said that Padme was sidelined because she's a woman, despite the fact that she literally did not say that. It's so funny how you accuse her of lying and not telling the truth when you literally do that throughout this entire goddamn video. I'm trying really hard to stay calm here, but I just gotta ask you this, Will. Do you have any shred of self-awareness at all? Are you this retarded? Are you this dumb? I'd really like to know.
She becomes less stoic and professional and more extroverted and emotional over the course of the 3 movies. But again, focus of the trilogy is Anakin, not her. But, that said, I do have a question for you, Miss Nicholson. Who the heck is Leia in the original trilogy? We don't see her do anything beyond, shoot a blaster and be flirted on by Han, but that's okay, because originals and, not prequels.
What the fuck are you talking about? She literally does not mention Leia or the original trilogy throughout the course of her video. Yet here you are, telling people that, hey guys, yeah, Jenny totally compared Padme to Leia in the original trilogy. Who's Leia? Projection much? Like, Jesus fucking Christ. If she was comparing Padme to Leia, then your point would make a lot more sense, but she literally didn't do that, so I have no idea what the fuck you're even on about. Seriously. I'm sorry, you are just projecting like a motherfucker, and the fact that you're creating falsehoods to try and validate your argument just proves to me that your argument wasn't very strong to begin with.
Number 2, her main purpose is to have a relationship with Anakin.
She's not only there to have a relationship with Anakin, Jenny. She's an integral piece in destroying the blockade on her home planet in Episode 1, and I'd even argue she's the protagonist of that movie. She's the one who motivates Anakin to actually save Obi-Wan in Episode 2, not to mention she's the only person he can really count on emotionally after the death of his mother, and is the catalyst behind his turn in Episode 3.
And it doesn't make any sense for her to have a relationship with Anakin. Here's the thing. Anakin is already fighting an uphill battle. When he meets Padme, he's a little kid. So you'd think when she sees him again and he acts surly...
What? He didn't act surly. He was constantly complimenting her the whole movie, emotionally supported her tough decisions, amused her with force tricks, played with her in the open field. Why did he act surly?
Since you don't seem to understand how Anakin was acting surly, allow me to explain it for you. In episodes 2 and 3, Anakin does a lot of really terrible shit. His characterization in episode 2 in particular, he kind of comes off as a bit of a whiny brat. Let's see, he murders children, he murders thousands of innocent civilians and admits it to Padme in a fit of rage. He brings apart the fall of the Republic. He helps Senator Palpatine come into power. Basically takes out the Republic, killing the galactic officials, and is very awkward towards her. He touches her up inappropriately, almost bordering on the lines of sexual assault, and overall is just not a very good person, a very flawed one, and just does a lot of really terrible shit. And Padme just turns a blind eye to it all. So, yeah, it makes no sense for Padme to be in a relationship with Anakin, because as you said before, she's mostly professional, and 2, just look at all the terrible shit that he does in episodes 2 and 3.
And cries.
Because his mom was just tortured to death and died in his arms? Good to know that if your crush and best friend just had everything in life snatched away from him, his entire family and everything he's got going for him in life just completely destroyed, taken away, and he cries, you would find that unattractive, unjustified, and childish because of his age. What a stand-up gal!
For a rebuttal to a video criticizing one of your favorite characters, or to be more technically accurate, your favorite jerk-off material, you sure are taking this way too seriously. I mean, dude, calm down. This is just Star Wars. These are just movies. It's not a matter of life and death. It's not that serious. Calm down. Let's just take it down a notch, eh?
Throws tantrums.
Again! Mother! Tortured to death. You kinda get a free pass to throw a tantrum when that shit happens.
Gets angry, breaks all the rules to try to impress her.
When did he do that? The answer is never.
That's complete bullshit. As I said before, Anakin murders children. He murders innocent civilians. He murders galactic officials and Jedi like Mace Windu. He brings about the destruction of the Republic, which is how Emperor Palpatine is able to come into power, and is essentially how the Empire is able to take over the galaxy. And that's all caused by Anakin breaking the rules. Either you're really trying to reach to make your argument sound valid, or your perception of breaking the rules is incredibly warped.
He tells Obi-Wan that they should find out who Padme's would-be assassin is, which I'm pretty sure you're supposed to do when someone you love is almost killed, and backtalks when he disagrees. That's pretty much it. Even that's a stretch.
Murders people.
He killed Tusken Raiders, who were described as animals even in your precious original trilogy by Ben Kenobi. What he did was akin to slaughtering a family of bears after one ate your mother alive. Cruel? Yes. Justified? Absolutely not. But certainly understandable. I call it the Haitian Revolution clause.
Refer to everything I said about Anakin in episodes 2 and 3 because I am not repeating myself.
That would just encourage her to see him as a little kid. From Padme's side, it makes no sense.
To answer your question, Padme fell for Anakin because, well, he was incredibly kind to her. As I said earlier, he saved her life, complimented her frequently, emotionally supported her when she was scared or unsure of herself, comforted her and allowed her to de-stress, showed loyalty to her, made her laugh. Add to that they were already friends, Anakin's good-looking, and probably the most passionate, sincere, and deep lover in the galaxy. I can absolutely see why she fell in love with him. I have a question for you, though. What was Leia's purpose in the original trilogy? She does nothing proactive or constructive to the story or characters beyond craving Han's dick in Empire Strikes Back in all 6 movies. And furthermore, what reason does Leia have to love Han? Han actually breaks the rules to impress Leia, not to mention basically bullies her into eventually loving him. But apparently, that's cool, because originals and not prequels.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. So, because Anakin is good looking and he's the most passionate being in the galaxy, that completely negates all of the terrible things that he does throughout the course of the prequel trilogy? Seriously? Are you fucking kidding me? What a wonderful message to teach young women out there, right? If a man does terrible things, you can completely overlook it as long as he's hot, as long as he's good looking. Fuck you. I cannot believe that you would even say something like that as a legitimate argument. And again, what the fuck does Leia have to do with any of this? She does not mention Leia or the original trilogy at all in her video. What it seems like to me is that you're just projecting your love of Padme to try and belittle Leia for some stupid fucking reason. And it doesn't work because she's not even in the video. How do you not understand this? In fact, I actually called him out on Twitter, and this is what he told me. She is a proven fan of Leia given she cosplays as her frequently, plus specifically singles out Padme for doing things Leia did in the original trilogy. So yes, it can be assumed she holds Leia to a different standard than Padme. You literally cannot use the fact that Jenny Nicholson cosplays as Leia as confirmation that she has a bias for Leia over Padme. And did you ever stop to think that maybe she has a preference for Leia as opposed to a bias? Because preferences and biases are two completely different things. But that would be assuming that you actually have some form of intelligence.
You're so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
She's very stupid.
You literally go on to back up that claim with nothing. Nothing! No, I'm not gonna put that segment in this video because it's already lay enough as it is, but you can go to her bullshit video right now and you will see that she backs up that point with absolutely no evidence. She just says, oh, it's blatantly obvious that she's stupid because Anakin's totally evil in episode 2 and 3, like, for reals, yo, totes believe me.
Believe me. Oh, believe me.
And moved on with nothing to back up that complaint. It was just a nice buzzword that you threw in to grab attention. It just goes to show how people will accept any bullshit accusations thrown at these movies without even a little bit of critical thinking. You don't need things like facts or evidence to back up your points about why these films are bad. Just throw and hurl every single insult and accusation under the sun at these movies and people will buy it because it's bandwagon hate.
This is yet another bullshit statement. You say that she doesn't give good reasoning as to why Padme is stupid, so much so that you completely skip over it, so we can't judge for ourselves whether or not she actually has good reasoning to say Padme is stupid. So, since you're completely incompetent, and since I have strong suspicion that you're just skipping over that point because you know she would completely invalidate your argument, I'm going to showcase that very same point so I can prove to you that she does give good reasoning as to why Padme is stupid. Take a look.
Number 3, she's very stupid. I know hindsight is 20/20 and everything, but it seemed kind of extremely obvious that Anakin was turning evil for all of episode 2 and all of episode 3. And like, this is what I'm saying. When they've been telling you that she's like strong-willed and smart, then that just makes you go like, wait a second, she doesn't have a personality, she's just inconsistent, there's nothing there.
If that isn't good reasoning, then I don't know what is. And it becomes incredibly obvious why he completely cut out that point, because he knows if he were to showcase it, it would completely invalidate his own argument. He is essentially using his bias, his love of Padme, to completely usurp any sort of critical thinking or logic, because he cannot bear the thought of anyone criticizing dear old Padme, dear old Panda Bear. Jesus Christ. This guy is not only one of the most triggered individuals I've seen on the internet, but he just very well may be one of the dumbest people on the internet. And that's not a joke. That's not something I throw around lightly. This guy is one of the dumbest people I have ever seen on the internet. He is terrible when it comes to rebuttals and actually constructing a proper argument. This is just fucking pathetic.
You're so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
Number 4, she's weak. I see a lot of posts on Tumblr where someone will say like, I want Padme's Force Ghost to show up in episode 8 and kick Kylo Ren's butt. There's like 20,000 reblogs. Everyone underneath in the notes is like, yes, girl, slay. And like, well, sorry, but canonically she wouldn't do that. So there's a scene in episode 3 where Padme is talking to Anakin for the first time after finding out that he murdered a bunch of children and all of their mutual allies. And she goes up to him and she's like, what's going on? And he starts raving about how he's going to take over the universe and he's paranoid that she's going to turn against him. Now it seems like a normal person or someone with like a forceful personality would get angry. Like, even if they're a really, really nice lady. Like, angry that Anakin killed all those children? Or that he dare question her loyalty to him after all the really weird and crazy stuff he did that she turned a blind eye to all along? Or that he decided to switch allegiances and make all these crazy life-altering decisions right when they're about to have a baby without even talking to her about it? Maybe take the opportunity to be like really critical of this person. Like, explain why they're being stupid and making terrible decisions. Probably yell at them. That would be a very human reaction. Padme, like, shakes her head a lot, and she says, Anakin, you're breaking my heart. And then she dies of sadness. So I'm just saying, if there was a scene in episode 8 where Padme's Force Ghost showed up, she'd probably be like, Kylo, you're really, really hurting my feelings. And then Kylo would be like, who are you? and that would be the end of that scene.
Okay, number one. First of all, we actually agree on something. I agree that Padme would not kick Kylo Ren's ass if she came back as a Force ghost in the sequel trilogy. That would not happen. That is out of character for her. So, it took you mountains and mountains of bullshit to get there, but you finally made a good point. Round of a fucking applause. But you immediately butcher it right after by calling Padme weak for not reacting the way you wanted her to Anakin's insanity. She's not weak for not getting pissed at Anakin. She's blinded by her emotions. This being the main fucking theme of the trilogy!
Hey Nimrod, Jenny's actually making a good point here. Padme is a weak character. I know that may hurt your little fifis because you can't stand the thought of anyone criticizing your dear old Padme, but I'm sorry dude, it's the truth. Padme is a weak character because she ignores all of the terrible shit Anakin does throughout the prequel trilogy. She doesn't confront him about it, she doesn't express any sort of concern, she doesn't, she doesn't confront him and say, what the hell are you doing? She doesn't leave him and run for the hills? So she is completely unable to see that Anakin is turning to the dark side because she has such a blind loyalty to him. She cannot see that he is turning evil, that what he is doing is wrong. And for that, that makes her a weak character. That's not outlandish to say, that's not wrong to say, it's the truth. That is what she did in those movies, and you cannot argue that. Look, I understand that you're a butthurt Star Wars fanboy, but could it kill you to do some critical thinking for once? Could it kill you to at least understand and respect a differing opinion? But no, apparently not. Everybody has to follow your ideology at all times, otherwise they are the enemy, otherwise they are wrong. At the beginning of the video, you said that you weren't going after her for having a differing opinion and that it was okay, when you're literally doing that throughout this entire video, going after her for having a differing opinion. Oh, the sweet, delicious irony. How many subscribers does this guy have again? 711, really? He has over 700 subscribers, really. Oh wow, I don't see how he has that many subscribers. How did he get that many subscribers? If you like this guy, that's completely fine, I have no problem, but I cannot see how anyone can find any entertainment out of this channel. He has over 700 subscribers. This is, okay, this is new, he has over 700 subscribers. This is, I don't know how to respond anymore. This is fucked. This can't be real. This cannot be real. That's gotta be fake. This is some sort of a bot. But he has over 700 subscribers. Fuck.
Calling her weak for her reaction is just mean-spirited.
I am sorry about that. That is quite possibly the funniest thing that I've heard of. Oh wow! Did he literally just say that? He literally just said that. If you criticize a fictional character in a movie franchise for being weak, that's mean-spirited. Bravo, bravo, man! That is magnifico. That is fantastic. That's totally not idiotic or ridiculous in any way. No. That is the smartest thing that you've said throughout this entire video. I swear, if you're trying to be the internet's next great lolcow, then keep it up, because you're certainly doing a great job of that.
Luke didn't get angry at Vader in Return of the Jedi until he threatened to turn Leia. Is Luke weak? No, because originals!
I mean, Padme's such a blank slate that if you want to make yourself like her, you can kind of just project whatever you want onto her.
Fuck off! If I wanted to be lied and condescended to about the things that I loved, I'd just talk to my stepdad. For those of you who didn't catch that, what Jenny is basically saying is that if you got any value out of this character, if you got any emotional value at all, you are wrong. What she is telling you is that that is a fake response and any value you got is completely invalid. What she is basically telling you is that your opinion doesn't matter. Jenny Nicholson, if you're watching this, if you hate Padme Amidala, that's fine. But don't lie, don't misconstrue facts, and don't give Leia a pass for doing the exact same shit that you claim Padme did in the prequels. Honestly, this really feels like a case of projection where you're projecting Leia's flaws onto Padme. You can't criticize Leia. You can't criticize anything in the original trilogy. So instead of criticizing something from your precious original trilogy, you project Leia's failures as a character onto Padme. This video got over 200,000 views and over 6,000 likes based entirely on lies, hypocrisy, and projection. If you agree that Jenny's video was a piece of shit and are headed to her comments, I implore you, please be civil. Jenny gets enough trolls and haters as it is. Yeah, this was a shitty video, but everyone makes a shitty video once in a while. Hell, I know I've made countless shitty videos. And to Jenny, please don't take this personally. You can love or hate whatever characters you want. Just don't lie about things and be a hypocrite. I look forward to that problem with Leia video you're never gonna make.
In short, the video is garbage. It has terrible arguments that lack any sort of logical sense, falsehoods, a complete misunderstanding of the points Jenny was actually making, butthurt, projection, and a ton, and I mean a ton, of reaching to defend an underdeveloped, flawed, poor, weak character. Now look, I understand that you love Padme, and there's nothing wrong with that. Nobody's gonna think any different of you if you like Padme. Hell, if you like the prequel trilogy, that's fine too. A lot of people like the prequel trilogy, as divisive as it is. But, look, you don't have to be a condescending prick about it, and that's my main problem, is that I don't have problems with people that have differing opinions. I don't have a problem with you having a differing opinion. I have a problem with you being a condescending prick about those opinions. You just cannot stand the thought of anybody criticizing the prequel trilogy, and you will just go after anyone that does so, regardless of whether or not their criticisms actually make sense. And I said at the beginning of the video that you represent everything that's wrong with Star Wars fandom, and I truly believe that. You represent the worst aspects of it, because you are unable to accept any sort of criticism, and you treat it as an attack, like you have been offended personally, which is just ridiculous. And you say that you weren't trying to attack Jenny Nicholson for her opinion when you were doing that exact same thing throughout this entire fucking video. Don't even try to lie. I'm not stupid, and the viewing audience isn't stupid. That's exactly what you were trying to do. And it's ridiculous. It's so funny, too, because John Campea made a video about Marvel and DC fanboys a few days back, and honestly, that video can apply to fanboys of just about anything. And this is the exact kind of shit he was talking about. Fanboys aren't motivated by their love of something, they're motivated by hate. And I truly believe that the movie Dr. Phil is motivated by hate. That is what fuels him. Because ultimately, he really doesn't give a shit. He really doesn't. He cannot understand the concept of differing opinions. He can't understand it. He can't manage it. His brain certainly can't accept it. I mean, not only is he a triggered individual, not only is he a dumb individual, but overall I'm really gonna go far with this. I'm gonna go as far as to say he's a cunt. And I mean that sincerely, because, Will, it's totally fine to have a differing opinion. That's okay. If somebody doesn't like something you like, don't treat it as if it's an attack. Don't treat it as if they're going after you personally. Just accept it, say, I disagree, and move on with your life. It's not that fucking serious. For example, you don't like The Incredibles and you view it on the same level as 2015's Fant Four Stick, which is kind of offensive to me, but that's your opinion and you're entitled to it, and all I can say is, you know what, I disagree with that, and I'll move on. Easy peasy. But you can't seem to do that. You just seem content with attacking people for not supporting your ideology because they dare to disagree with you. And honestly, if you keep making shitty videos like this, sooner or later people are gonna come after you, and they're gonna be a lot worse than me. Compared to some other people who might go after you for your incredibly divisive views, I've been relatively easy on you. And I could go on for hours about how terrible this video is and how much of a douchebag the movie Dr. Phil is, but at this point, you get what I'm saying. So I'm just gonna end it here. This is ThatKidDouglas, aka the Unhero, signing out. Deuces. Stay frosty and keep it weird. Cueing outro sequence now.